Very good morning to you all. Great to have you on board here on Chucker TV, and welcome to the Top Pony 8-Goal Final 2021. Slightly windy conditions here. We're coming to you, of course, from Grand Champions Polo Club. You can see behind me the players are ready, and I'm going to get off the field and introduce them to you. Without any further ado, we're going to start from left to right. Ladies and gentlemen, watching at home, we have Ellipse playing in the Top Pony 8-Goal Final. We're going to start, of course, with the only lady player on the field. Please put your hands together for Pancho Terrero. Pancha, beg your pardon, Pancha Terrero, I do apologise. At number 2, we have Baldo Palomeke playing off 4 goals. And then we have the highest handicap player on that team, Robbie Bilbao, playing at number 5. Good morning, Robbie. And playing at back, off 0 goals, Louis Develay. Bon dia to you, senor. Now, they're up against a team in white, and that is Bushwood. And at number 1, we have, playing off -1, Nick McClelland. Good morning, Nick. At number 2, the highest handicap player on this team, beg your pardon, not quite the second, Nick Manifold, playing off 3 goals. At number 3, that is the highest handicap player, that's Mr. Chris Campson. Good morning, Chris. And at number 4, playing off 0 goals, Michael Armour. Our 2 mounted umpires on the field this morning are none other than Mr. Dale Schwetz and Gaston Dorignac. And to my right, the third man, Esteban Ferrari. And also sitting just beside me here, none other than the chief umpire, Mr. Steve Lane. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Stephanie. Good morning to all the crew. And I hope you're strapped in for what promises to be a very exciting final 2021. 6 chuckers, of course, awaiting us. And where better, and what better to do than on a Sunday morning than to tune in here at Chucker TV and watch this 2021 Top Pony 8-Goal Final. And without any further ado, the ball's been thrown into play, and let's see who's going to get off to the better start. Just to remind you, Ellipse playing in the grey shirts and Bushwood in the white shirts. 0-0 at the start, no advantage given. Both teams playing off a team handicap of 8. Let me just remind you once again, for Bushwood, we have Nick McClelland playing off -1. Nick Manifold, 3-goal to Chris Campson, as I said, playing off 6 goals, the highest handicap player on the field here this morning at 6 goals. And then Michael Armour playing the back position of 0 goals. Ellipse in the grey shirts, Pancha Terrero of -1. Baldo Meke at number 2, playing off 4 goals. Robbie Bilbao, the 5-goaler there. And we might just see the first goal, and there it is. The first goal scored by, I believe, Baldo Palomeke, wasting no time, getting his first score on the score sheet. And let me just finish there. And we have at number 4, Louis Develay, playing off 0 goals at back. So, ball's back in play. They line up in the centre. And let's see who's going to get the better of this throw-in. Powerful strike there from the number 3, Chris Campson. As I said, playing off 6 goals, highest handicap player on the field here this morning. And that one is still not out of the danger zone yet. Pancha coming in to lend a little helping hand on the far side. And this could be a chance here for Ellipse to break away. After that powerful strike just a few moments ago from Chris Campson, ball's over the halfway line. But Bushwood, a little fake backhander there, regained possession, taking the long way round. Well, he was hoping there was going to be a player right behind him. Nick Manifold, ball didn't quite get to him, and I think we have the first whistle of the play. A right-of-way infringement to the disbelief of Chris Campson. But it did look that Baldo Palomeke had already established himself on that line. So I think a good call here by the umpires. Just to remind you, our mounted umpires this morning, Dale Schwetz and Gaston Dorignac. So a hit from the spot. Penalty 5 has been given. It'll be taken by the man with the number 3, Robbie Bilbao. Keep an eye out on him this morning. He's going to be instrumental and the playmaker. in this final. There's a little bit of traffic there he runs into, but still, Bilbao sends a nice long ball over to the left-hand side of the field, looking for Baldo Palomeke. And that one, unfortunately, just going over the back line. So no score on that play. Now, I will be telling you a little bit about how the teams got here throughout this match. Slightly windy conditions here today at Grand Champions. We had a lot of rain last night. The game, of course, was scheduled to take place yesterday afternoon, but the rain, literally as we were about to start, came in, and the conditions were just too bad to actually play the final, so we had to move it to this morning, 10 o'clock. And the conditions, of course, now in absolutely immaculate condition. A big compliment once again to the ground staff here at Grand Champions for turning out this field in such a pristine way. Still a little bit of uncertainty down on the field. Of course, the final, both teams a little bit touchy-feely, wanting to make sure they get a rhythm and their own rhythm going, allowing to play their own game. And once again, it is Ellipse with a nice little play around the outside. Now a little under the neck shot's what's needed. There it comes. Has he hit the target? He's just gone wide, but a great strike there by Robbie Bilbao, the 5-goaler. Did everything right except hit the target. Well, we've had a whistle by the umpire. And it could be that despite the fact that the goal judge said it was no goal, that of course can be overruled by the umpires if that is the case. But I think we are going for a courtesy change. So a chance for me to give you a little bit of an idea of how the teams got here. Let's start with Bushwood, who lost their first game to Santa Rita 3-8. Ellipse Polo, they beat Beverly 7-5. That was last Sunday. And then Mr. Polo versus Bushwood. Sunday the 2nd, or the 28th of February, Casablanca were up against Santa Rita. Santa Rita winning that game 10-8. And Ellipse Polo again, who played Bushwood, beat them 7-6. So it really has been a very exciting tournament so far. And of course now, today, the big final. And let's see who is going to get their hands on that beautiful trophy. I've had a look at the trophies a little bit earlier on. Very impressive trophies there for the winners. Just to remind you, last year's final was won by Woodrow. 2020, of course, the year that we'd, I'm sure, like to all put behind us. So, quick pony change. Players are back out onto the field, and it stands as it was indicated there by the goal judge, no goal. So the team in white, Bushwood, get the second half of this first chukka underway so far. 1 goal scored only by Baldo Palomeke, and that was in the opening minute. Very quick goal indeed. And they'll be looking to try and extend their lead if they can. And you can see Ellipse making it very hard for Bushwood to come out of their own half. Maybe a run now. The ball's drilled up to the front door, but I think it might have just bounced out of play. So there'll be a hit from the spot to the team in grey, Ellipse. It's always a pleasure also to see in any final. And we have a young lady, Pancha Terrera, playing off -1. And I'm sure she'll be doing her utmost to help her team in getting their hands on the trophy. Another whistle, another right-of-way infringement there, stopping play with just under 2 minutes left to play in this first chukka. 6 chukkas, of course, as always, also here at the 8-goal at Grand Champions. And as I was saying, we had a lot of rain last night, but I was talking to the Polo manager who said it's probably one of the best things that we could have had during the night. Conditions also on the field number 2 a little bit later on this afternoon. We will be bringing you live coverage of the next match of the 3rd round of the Founders Cup, the WPL, so make sure you tune in this afternoon, 4 p.m. local time here from Wellington for the next match of the World Polo League, the Founders Cup. Remember, there are 4 tournaments. Well, 5 in effect if you include the beach polo, which of course is going to be the icing on the cake at the end of the season. But now let's go back to the action. It's a nice little open backhand there from Bilbao. And on the far side, I think he found Balameke, but he couldn't quite control it. As Bushwood, Chris Campson, highest handicap player on the field, playing off 6 goals. Good stick work from Chris, as he now tees the ball up nicely, sends it up to the front door. It's a little bit too far for the number 1, Nick McClelland, to get a hold of. Great play, though, by Chris Campson. He found himself the space that he needed to send that long ball. A little bit too far, as I say, for Nick to pick up. But they're still in possession. Campson now will take it once again round the back. Has a little look up. Sends a nice long lofted shot. So the second attempt. Now this would land exactly where he wanted it. Nick McClelland will take a shot, and it might just need one shot. Well, he was very unlucky there, as Robbie Bilbao managed to clear it. They're in the danger zone. The pressure's still very much on. You might have heard the siren there, the horn. Down to the last 30 seconds of play in this first chukker. A little bit of a traffic jam going on there. Chris Campson will come in. He opens his shoulders, fakes the shot, wants to get a little bit closer. Campson shoots, unloads one. Is it going to go through? It has. I think there might have been a little deflection there, but Chris Campson will be happy with that, getting the equaliser. And that is the end of chukker number 1. 1 apiece. Make sure you join us here on Chukker TV after these few messages from our sponsors. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. Great to have you watching us here on Chukker TV Live. We're coming to you from Grand Champions Polo Club. We are 1 chukker down of a total of 6 chukkers of the Top Pony 8-goal final 2021. And a little bit of a, well, I don't want to say a shaky start, but a little bit of a touchy-feely start from both teams, as Chris Campson got the late equaliser in that first chukker. The first goal, of course, was scored very early on by Baldo Balameke. And I think it's fair to say that both of these teams now have had a chukker to find their rhythm and get themselves into the modus operandi for this final. Very evenly matched, very difficult to gauge at this time who might have the slightly upper hand. Both teams very well mounted, and we are playing here on an exceptionally fantastic conditioned polo field. Can never thank enough the ground staff who, of course, put so much time and effort into making and turning out these fields so well. And that one's just going to go and trickle over the sideboard, so there'll be a hit from the spot in favour of Gray. Let me just run you through the teams once again. If you've just tuned in here on Chukker TV, Ellipse in the grey shirts, led there by the number 1, Pancha Terrera, playing off -1. But now let's quickly go back to the action as Robbie Bilbao, the 5-goaler, drills this one deep into the half there of Bushwood. The team in white who will pick this one up. Unfortunately, no connection made after that long drive from Robbie Bilbao. On the far side on the boards, but Ellipse have it once again, stopping Bushwood to try and make too much or gain too much space there on the polo field. A little bit of a a duel going on there in the far right-hand corner. Slightly windy conditions, but the sun is coming out and showing the best side of itself, as I say. A lot of rain last night. We were a little bit in doubt whether we could play, but as I say, the ground staff have done an amazing job overnight. Oh, now we have a run here. Oh, he lost that one. There was a big chance for Baldo to try and get the upper hand. And it's going to be Campson. Campson now takes the pace out of the game a little bit. Plenty of space. He's got a man coming on his near side. Has to, of course, allow the right of way before he challenges him for the run off. A little bit of a deflection. Campson will have to pick this one up again. Now gets the support coming in from his number 2, Nick Manifold. He'll pick this one up and take it over the halfway line. Manifold again. Doesn't get challenged. Manifold, what's he got up his sleeve? Plays it out to the right-hand side, but more or less gave it to the opposition. And Manifold now will try and redeem himself. Oh, that looked like it could have been a bit of an unfortunate collision there. Manifold coming in, and I think he might have just clipped player there. I think it's with the number 2, Baldo Palomeke. But nice gesture there from Chris, immediately showing sportsmanship. No malice intent, of course, or intended. And again, a very watchful eye there by our 2 mounted umpires. Let me remind you, Dale Schwetz and Gaston Dorignac, and sitting behind me in his throne, none other than Don Esteban Ferrari. And the umpires, based on that slightly aggressive play, have awarded a penalty from the centre, so-called penalty 5B. And I think, as we are, well, not quite halfway through. No, it looked like there might have been a change, a pony change, but they've called Nick Manifold back. Want to continue playing. It's not quite half a chucker. We've introduced the so-called courtesy change, more or less around about half a chucker play that the players can go and change and get themselves a fresh 4-legged athlete. Now that's a nice pass coming once again from Bilbao. He's looking for Palomeke. Palomeke, and he will just cruise this one through. No mistake there. 2-hit play. Baldo Palomeke getting his 2nd goal of this final. Well, those are the kind of plays we like to watch. Nice, fast, open play, especially when the pass completion rate is so high, and that really was timed beautifully. Now the whistle has blown, allowing the players to go for a quick courtesy change. And Baldo Palomeke, as I said, scoring that very, very quick early goal in the first chucker, has now done again the same thing here in chucker number 2. Took him a little bit longer. Chris Campson, as you may remember, scoring the equaliser just in the dying seconds of that first chucker. So really anyone's game, early days yet here in this Top Pony 8-goal final 2021. And what else would you want to be doing on a Sunday morning than watching this on Chucker TV? Now remember, any questions or any comments you might have, please, we're always happy to answer questions and to receive any kinds of comments and questions you may have. So please do get back to us. And we will do our utmost to get back to you as quickly as possible. Here we go then. Quick pony change. The players are back out on the field. Ball is thrown in on the halfway line. And once again, it's the grey shirts, Ellipse, who are getting the better of that. And this is nice to see. Pancha Terrero running away with it here. Took a swing and a miss, but she gets the support. And another whistle. Well, it should have maybe been an inside pick-up. And this is possibly what the umpires could be deliberating now on. Pancha came nicely around the corner there, had a couple of great strikes as Robbie Bilbao tucked in behind her. I can hear from the field there, one of the 2 mounted umpires, Gaston Dorignac, has awarded this to Chris Campson, i.e. to Bushwood. So indeed, it should have been played on the near side. Players called, so a penalty 5. Taken quickly by Campson. Campson, of course, a lot of experience. Knows exactly where he needs his teammates to be. Campson now with a little bit of support there from Manifold. They get it over the halfway line. The ball's back in possession for Campson. Campson round the outside. Nobody coming in to challenge him. Look at that pony open up nicely. Manifold is right behind him to lend a helping hand. Ellipse tried to clear it. Did not get the length on that. Maybe this time they might get a little gap here as they do. Breaking away up towards the halfway line. Player with the number 3. Took it under the next shot there. Bilbao and Campson now working hard. Back in defence. Who's the next player on the ball? There's the near side backhand coming in from the number 4, Michael Armour. Another whistle. And riding into the swing, of course, is a no-no. You cannot ride into a player's swing. That is, of course, dangerous for both the player and the, as my friend Dale likes to call it, the four-legged athlete. And again, the umpires, the combination here, Gaston Dorignac and Dale Schwetz, keeping a very, very watchful eye on proceedings out onto the field. And based on that foul, they've awarded a penalty for. Now, let me just remind you, if you are new to the penalty system here at Polo, there are, of course, 3 immediate penalties that can be taken in front of the goal. A penalty 2 is an open goal, undefended. The distance to goal there, 30 yards. A penalty 3 is a slightly further distance of an extra 10 yards. That's 40. And then, of course, the penalty 4, which we're going to now see executed by Chris Campson, is a defended penalty. And the distance to goal there, 60 yards. Campson takes a nice long run up. Takes a swing. It's high in the sky, but is it straight? It is. No mistake. Well, you were not surprised there when you see Chris Campson, the 6th-goaler, putting that ball through the uprights. And that is also his 2nd goal of this final, with 2:04 left on the clock. 3 2s on the scoreboard. And as I said, this really could be anyone's game. I haven't really seen any moments of superiority from either teams. Both seem to be very compact and very well mounted. Remember, 8-goal final here, both of these teams. And of course, it would be nice to see Pancha Terrera maybe get a chance to goal. Now, you might have also picked up on the fact that after every goal scored, they change ends. And people have often asked, well, why do they do that? Well, there is, of course, like so much, there is a history to that. When the English were, or discovered this beautiful game out in India. But hang on, before I go to that historic fact, let's go back to Pancha. Pancha out on her own. I was just talking about seeing a lady player score a goal, and she did all the hard work. But Baldo, Robbie Baldo, the 5-goaler, I beg your pardon, Baldo Palameke getting his 3rd of the match. But the credit and all the assists there coming very much from Pancha Terrera, who did all the hard work. Baldo Palameke just had to basically nudge it through the posts. But back to that story about why we change ends. When the English picked up this beautiful game in India, it was, of course, very apparent that you cannot play polo at a certain time of day when not only is the sun too hot, so they had to wait until the afternoon, the early hours of the evening, when the sun, of course, was a lot lower. And that would always mean that one team or somebody complained about the sun being in their face, and that was the reason why they decided to change ends after every goal. So this handicap applies to both. You might have heard the bell. The second chukker is over. It is 3-2 in favour of Ellipse. Baldo Palameke there getting his hat-trick. And we'll be back with chukker number 3 in just a few moments. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. It's turning out to be a gloriously beautiful day here at Grand Champions Polo Club. If you've just joined us, a very good morning to you. You are watching the final of the Top Pony 8-Goal 2021. And just before that second chukker ended just a few moments ago, there was a whistle, and of course play will resume exactly on that spot. And it's Chris Campson who tried to convert a penalty 3. And that is very unusual for Chris Campson to miss that one. And Chris Campson also there looking for his hat-trick. So far it's been a very level game. 1 goal each at the end of the first chukker. And 2 goals to 1 for Ellipse at the end of the second, which brings the total score up to 3 goals to 2 in favour of the team in grey. Ellipse are on the ball once again, and it's Baldo. Balameke, his man, has already scored 3 goals in this final. Manifold will leave this one for Campson. Campson, the engineer. Oh, that would have been uncomfortable for that pony, as he was trying to find a way through there for Nick McClelland. And now we have a chance here once again for Robbie Bilbao, the 5-goaler. What's he going to do? He's going to take it up a little bit closer, centres it to the approach. He might have to pick this one up. No, he comes round. He did well. Look at the agility of that pony. And then on the near side, he tried to just put it through the uprights. Well, that really was superb play once again by the 4-goaler. And he just got robbed by putting it wide. And I'm sure Bushwood will be happy not to have conceded another goal. They have possession. There really wasn't much in it, a couple of inches, if that. And the agility of that pony, he had to try and centre it on the approach. Not an easy play to do. So Michael Armour now gets things underway with a hit in from their own back line. Remember, Bushwood in the white shirts, Ellipse in the grey. And they're on the far side. Bushwood shutting them down as early as they can. Campson. And we have another whistle. And I believe, yeah, the ball went over the boards. And we have one polo player, the man with the number 4 in his shirt, Michael Armour, having to quickly go and get himself another mallet. Meanwhile, play, of course, continues. As Campson is battling it out there on the far side, they turn. Campson, the 2 number 3s, I believe that is. Robbie Bilbao up against Chris Campson. Who's going to come out on top? Campson. Perseverance paying off there for the 6-goaler. Ellipse. Well, that was probably just one too many players for Campson to deal with. Now, Bilbao. Robbie Bilbao finds a little space. Pancha up there in the front as well. Campson will pick this one up on the turn. He's got a bit of traffic. Bilbao still sticking to the 6-goaler. Those, of course, the 2 highest handicap players on the field. Campson, 6 goals. Bilbao, 5 goals. Still Campson. Pancha coming in to try and make a little bit of a dent in the play of Chris Campson. And Chris Campson. How he did that is quite impressive. Chris Campson also now getting his hat-trick, 3rd goal of the match, and puts his team right back on the scoreboard with the equaliser, 3 apiece. And we have a quick courtesy change with 3:09 left on the clock to play. Now, we will, of course, have a prize presentation right after this game. And so far, I'm just looking over to Steve Lane, who's standing next to me, and he's, I think, suitably impressed with the performance here by both teams. And it's also nice to mention that these teams are playing a very fair game. There seems to be no animosity or any malice. It is a nice, open, flowing game, and this is, remember, 8-goal. So great to see that these 2 teams are playing the game the way we like to watch it, and I'm hoping the way you are enjoying watching it here, of course, on Chukker TV. So, 3 apiece, and so far just those 2 gentlemen, Chris Campson and Baldo Balameke, the only 2 gentlemen who have their names on the score sheet, both with a hat-trick. We're in the 3rd chukker, and we have a little over 3 minutes left to play. And of course, we did mention this in the broadcast yesterday, that the courtesy changes must be completed within 45 seconds, and I think the players very much adhere to that rule. And I think some of them come out even sooner. And that, of course, I hope improves the viewing pleasure for you as we now go back to Chris Campson, who drills another long ball up to the front door, looking for Nick Manifold. He just couldn't get there quick enough as Ellipse clear it, but Campson would like to send another ball into that danger zone. There's a bit of traffic there. Bilbao is in the thick of it. And there's an appeal for a right-of-way infringement, but the umpire so far deemed no dangerous play. And, of course, if there is no danger, then they can allow play to continue. Again, a chance here now for the number 2, Manifold. Just could not put the finishing touches on that play on the far side. It's going to be Nick McClelland. Told to make a little bit of space. Bushwood. Manifold again. Trying to find a little gap there and weave his way through those grey shirts. And I think this time we did have a right-of-way. A right-of-way infringement. Let me just explain to you again. The player, of course, once he hits that ball will take a direction, the so-called line of the ball. This line and this continuation of that line cannot be crossed. That is the right-of-way. It's a little bit like when you're on the motorway. You cannot just cross from one lane to the other. You need to, well, obviously mirror, signal, indicate. You can't mirror, signal, indicate here in Polo. So this right-of-way and this imaginary line is something which, of course, the players need to work with, and the umpires keep a very watchful eye on. And if that line is crossed, which again could be a health hazard for both player and pony, a penalty, like in this case, has been given, and it's going to be Chris Campson, who had exactly the same situation earlier on. This time makes no mistake, and for the first time in this game, puts Bushwood in the lead by 4-3. And again, it's Chris Campson now with 4 goals to his name. A little less than 2 minutes left to play in chukker number 3. We will then have a little half-time break, of course. Chance for you to maybe get yourself a fresh cup of coffee or a nice cup of tea in time to join us back here for the second half. So now for the first time, as I say, a little bit of pressure here for Ellipse. So far, they set the pace, were the first team to score. It was Bushwood who had to come back. Armour there getting things underway, but it's left for Campson. And Campson will be looking to increase that cushion going into the half-time break. There's a lofted shot, and I think it came off the helmet there of the player of Baldo Palameke. But the danger is still not over. Another whistle will stop play at 1:11. And I think that was a question of defining who was on the ball first or who had possession first. Not always an easy job to do for the umpires when you've got 8 ponies all claiming that they were on that line first. When we have a dead ball, i.e. when the ball has been played and there's nobody really in control, the nearest player to that ball will automatically be awarded the right of way, and that is sometimes not an easy task to do. So a very, very important job, especially by the mounted umpires. But of course, we have our third man when the 2 umpires are not sure, and that is none other than Esteban Ferrari, who will then shed his opinion on the situation. And they've awarded, as you can see, a hit from the centre, a penalty 5B to the team in grey. And that's a nice ball up to the front door. Now, Louis Develay couldn't do anything with it. Bushwood. Campson just lets that one trickle over the back line by doing so, securing, of course, possession. A little bit like in soccer when the ball goes over the back line. There'll be a kick, a free kick. In this case, of course, a hit from the back line. So, Campson, very, very powerful player is Chris Campson. Sends that ball, and that'll be Manifold, and that's a good ball up to the front door to Nick McClelland. Nick McClelland, we haven't seen that much of him, of course, but the way Manifold and Campson are feeding those balls up to the front. But now it's down to Robbie Bilbao. He got another piece on that on the half volley. Campson needs to be careful. He drops the hammer on the near side. Armour will extend it, but it's intercepted. Baldo Palameke intercepts that, and unfortunately they just ran out of time. That's a little bit unlucky there. So they leave the field at half-time with the team in white, courtesy of Chris Campson, having scored 4 goals, the only 4 goals for his team against Ellipse with 3. We'll be back in just a few minutes. You make sure you stay with us here on Chucker TV to watch the second half of the Top Pony 8-goal final 2021. Welcome back, everybody. Great to have you with us here on Chukka TV. Hope you've enjoyed the first half of the Top Pony 8 Goal 2021 final, coming to you, of course, live here from Grand Champions. And despite the fact that after the first three Chukkas played, Bushwood, team in white, have a slight lead by 1 goal going into the second half with 4 goals to 3. All 4 goals scored by the one and only Chris Campson, the 6th goaler there, playing at the number 3 in the white shirts. And Ellipse, who, as I said, they put the pressure on from the word go, scoring the first goal, and it's all been down to Baldo Palomeke, having scored 1 in the first, 2 in the second. And Chris Campson, as I say, with 4 goals, he scored twice in Chukka number 3. No score in the third Chukka for Ellipse, so they have a little bit of pressure now going into this second half. Play will, of course, resume where play ceased at the end of that first half. Just do a quick head count. 1, 2, 3, 4 white shirts, I believe. Yep, and 1, 2, 3, 4 grey shirts. Here come our 2 mounted umpires, Gaston Dorignac and Dale Schwetz. Dale Schwetz, of course, a man with many, many talents, and somebody who really understands the technicalities and the rules of polo like very few others do. So it's great to have him not only back on the horse and on the field, and also a very, very charming man indeed. Gaston Dorignac, like I say, alongside him. Behind me is the third man, Esteban Ferrari. And also along my side here to my left, the chief umpire, Mr. Steve Lane. So the who's who of the Grand Champions is out here in full force. They're going to start with a throw-in, I would say around about on the penalty 2 mark there. So a chance here now for Ellipse. If they can win possession here of this first throw-in, they could put a bit of pressure here on Bushwood, and they would like to get a very early goal in the second half. But as you can see, it's Bushwood who come out on top, and it's Manifold showing how to play a succession of great near-side shots, tries to get it back onto the onside. Campson there, slightly overrun, a little backhand from Pancha, and going straight and flat out to goal with Campson in hot pursuit. I beg your pardon, that's not Campson. If it is Campson, but it was just a little too late as the man with the number 3, Robbie Bilbao, getting his first goal of this final, and I'm sure Ellipse will be very happy with that. They wanted an early goal in the second half, and they've got it, and that brings the scores back up to even Stevens. The equaliser 4 apiece, and we're only at the top of Chukka number 4. A little under 4, or a little over 5.5 minutes, I should say, left to play in this fourth Chukka. Remember, we are playing a total of 6 Chukkas, and a little chat with Steve Lane in the half-time break, getting his thoughts on how he thought the 2 teams were faring, and he was saying to me exactly as I said earlier, very difficult to gauge who might have the slight upper hand. A little turnaround here, and Ellipse again, but Campson, I think, no, not Campson, it was the number 4. It was Michael Armour who just got a piece of it, and now it's Campson. Campson has a little look over his shoulder. He's got plenty of space, plenty of time. He runs into a little bit of traffic. The man with the number 4, Louis Develo, but there wasn't much he can do. Campson, you give that man half a chance and he will take you for a mile. And that is Campson's 5th goal of this final, restoring that slight advantage there for Bushwood, leading by 5 goals to 4. With now a little over 4.5 minutes left to play in Chukka number 4. Now, as we said earlier on, of course, please, we'd be delighted to hear from you. Any comments, any questions you may have, please drop us a line on Chukka TV. As we now go back to the action. Oh, he took that in the full volley there, the player with the number 2 in the white shirts, Nick Manifold. Nice open backhander there, putting it back into the danger zone from Robbie Bilbao. Manifold again on the attack, but again he just put his oar in it. Bilbao just stopping him in his tracks. Campson having to pick up the loose ball, but the marking up from both teams has been exceptionally well, exceptionally good. Bilbao there again sticking very close to Campson. And we have a whistle. Not quite sure where that whistle came from. I think the two umpires also just deliberating. It looked like it could have been a blocking foul. We'll have to wait and see what the umpires make of that. Now, this could be one of those sort of situations where if the umpires are not of the same opinion, they might resort to consulting the third man. Let's see if they can work it out themselves. You can see Dale Schwetz there and Gaston Dorignac just deliberating. I think they'll have worked it out themselves. A lot of experience amongst or between these two umpires. And the way they are going, it would suggest that a penalty will be awarded. I think it looks like a penalty for the team in white. Campson there, I think he might have been subject to a blocking foul. Of course, you must get out of the way when a player comes charging down the line, and I think this might have been the reason why they decided to award a penalty for. So remember, 60 yards out. It is defended, of course. And it'll either be Mr. Campson or Mr. Manifold. The two players there just teeing up the ball. Campson just teeing it up nicely. I would think it'll be Chris Campson, and he'll be looking for his 6th goal of this final. Has to be a distance of 30 yards from the striking player, so Ellipse need to allow or need to give 30 yards. Now, players being called. Now, Campson, he smashed a great penalty for a little bit earlier on. Let's see if we can see that happen again. He takes a nice long run up, getting his pony into a nice calm canter. On the ball, a couple of swings just to get the rotation working. Here we go then. Campson. Again, one of those powerful high balls. It's eye in the sky. And again, no mistake from Mr. Campson. Indeed, his 2nd hat-trick. A total of 6 goals now. And at the clock, showing 3:33 to 1. We have a courtesy change. Whistle now stopping the clock at 3:27. So for the first time in this game, Bushwood, and very much thanks to the conversion rate there of Mr. Campson, extending their lead and extending that little puffer cushion there to 2 goals, 6 goals to 4. It all started quite well for Ellipse. They came back. They were down by 1 at the end of the first half and needed that quick equaliser, which they got. But then Mr. Campson clearly had other ideas, scoring twice. The last you saw just a few moments ago, that penalty for which, well, he just hammered that ball. Not really much anything or anybody could have done on that. It was too high to reach because, of course, you can try and block it with your stick high in the air, but when those balls come up so high, it's very difficult to reach. So, quick courtesy change. All 4 players on both teams are back out on the field. And there'll be a throw-in on the halfway line. And let's see if Ellipse can pick this one up, because winning the throw-in, of course, can already pave the way to an offensive play. But once again, it's Mr. Campson. Campson leaves Pancha Terrera behind. Wants to get within shooting distance. Campson has to pick that one up again. Pancha trying to put a stick down to avoid Campson with another shot. Here comes the cut shot. And, well, he makes it look so easy, Campson. That's goal number 7 and a hat-trick of goals just in this chukker alone. So I think we are starting to see signs of Bushwood now gaining momentum and starting to run away with this final, well, at least so far in this chukker. 2:40 left on the clock, and Ellipse seem to have a little bit of a lull at the moment. Haven't quite been able to connect and play to the level that they did, especially in the first 2 chukkers. Remember, it's 1 apiece at the end of the first, and then Ellipse actually left the field with a lead of 2 goals to 1 in that chukker. But then it all changed in chukker number 3, when Ellipse did not score a single goal, and Campson, of course, with 2 goals. And it's been very much uphill for Bushwood since then. Ellipse, struggling a little bit to find their rhythm. And maybe it's just the overpowering play of Bushwood, who just seemed to have a lot more possession in this final, seemed to have a lot more control. and not really allowing Ellipse to play the game they did in that first chukker. So very clever play here from Bushwood to the way they've slightly adjusted and adapted to the strategy, allowing them to play their game. But they have a chance now. Robbie Bilbao, the 5-goaler, he scored one earlier as well. He'll be looking for his second goal if indeed he is the man who's going to take this penalty. It looks like he will. So, penalty for 60 yards the distance. And as you can see, Bushwood with a 30-yard gap allowed to try and defend this. The idea, of course, ideally would be to hit it as high as you possibly can. This is another great high ball and no mistake. And goal number 2 for Robbie Bilbao. So let's see if this is going to break the spell and see them come right back into this final. Still plenty of time. A little over 2 minutes to play in chukker number 4. And then, of course, we have the penultimate 5th and final chukker thereafter. Players making their way back to the halfway line. 2 minutes on the clock. Ball's thrown into play, courtesy of Gaston Dorignac. And as if he had a magnet to that ball, it always seems to land at the feet of Chris Campson. Has a little bit of traffic there. And I think that might have been a similar kind of foul that we saw earlier, a so-called blocking foul. Play with the number 2 there, Baldo Palameke there in the way of Campson. Let's see what Mr. Schwetz and Mr. Dorignac make out of that one. It was a clear obstruction. Well, I'm just being told here, yeah, dangerous riding even. And it's against White. So maybe the call there was do not ride into the back of another player, because, of course, the player didn't see that player coming. So that is a very good call indeed by the umpires. So, chance now for Ellipse. They have possession just adjacent to the halfway line again. The man with the number 3, the 5-goaler, he's scored twice so far. Robbie Bilbao drills this one down the field. But Campson, with a very powerful tail backhand, playing it into the open space. But all of a sudden, Ellipse seem to be right back into this game. Nice little combination play there from the number 2 to the number 3. Baldo Palameke looking for Robbie Bilbao. Another whistle on that play. And again, the 2 umpires in conference. And I think they're going to consult the 3rd man. Well, a little bit of misunderstanding here on that play. You can see some of the players there from Bushwood a little bit dumbfounded. And I'm hearing here from the 3rd man, he's calling no foul. That's the call, as I say, from the 3rd man. And I believe the chief umpire, he also did not see a foul on that play. Well, it didn't really look like there was anything untoward at all. So they're going to go for a throw-in, which is, of course, always the fairest option. But Ellipse, of course, very deep now in the half of Bushwood. They want to try and win this throw-in, and Panchak gets the first piece of it. A little bit of a traffic jam in front of goal, but maybe Robbie Bilbao can find a little gap. Bilbao still surrounded there by white shirts. And we had another whistle on that play. Difficult to tell from where I'm standing here exactly what was going on. There was a lot of legs in front of that goal mouth. And of course, Bushwood were trying to do everything they can to avoid Ellipse getting a shot to goal. But I think they might have just done a little too much, because I think we're going to see a penalty from the spot, which would mean that Bushwood need to get behind their own back line. Indeed it is. So a big chance here now to get back within 1 goal for Ellipse. Very important goal here at this phase of the game, and it'll be taken by the number 3. Robbie Bilbao looking for also his 3rd goal in this chukker. Just a little chip, no mistake. So we have it, a real final on our hands. Bilbao matching the hat-trick of Chris Campson for his team. Ellipse now with just 1 goal behind, 7 goals to 6, still in favour of the Whites, Bushwood, as they come back to the centre. Down to the last 40 or so seconds, we'll hear the first siren in about 8 seconds from now, and then the remaining 30 seconds to play in this fourth chukker. Ball's thrown back into play. There's the siren, but Campson again coming out on top, and it's a two-man race. Campson, the two number threes. Bilbao up against Campson. He couldn't quite control it. In comes the under the next shot there from the number two, from Nick Manifold, trying to send it back up to the front into the danger zone. Ellipse keeping the pressure off that goal for the moment at least. There's a shot up to the front. Oh, that's a great little play. Now they can run away with this one. Oh, they ran out of time, but what a cracking chukker indeed. 7 goals to 6 is how they leave the field. There'll be 2 more exciting chukkers coming up here on Chukker TV. Make sure you stay with us for the remaining 2 chukkers of the Top Pony 8-goal final 2021. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the remaining two chukkers of the Top Pony 8-goal final 2021. It is 7 goals to 6. We had 2 hat-tricks scored just a few moments ago in the 4th chukker. And Ellipse had quite a little bit of work to do. They were trailing by 2 at one point. And they've come back strong. But they need to find a remedy for this man on the field and on the ball as we speak. Mr. Chris Campson, so far with a total of 7 goals. All the goals scored for his team, and he tried to send another one down the field, and this time just slightly put it out to the right-hand side. Ellipse, of course, have it all to do now in the remaining 2 chukkers. Bushwood started a little bit to run away with it, especially after the first half. There was no score in that 3rd chukker by Ellipse. Twice again, Mr. Campson scored, bringing his team into a very comfortable position. But then they found their rhythm again. It took him a chukker and a half, nearly 2 chukkers, to get a grip of this very, very strong playing Bushwood team. And once again, it is Campson. Campson looking for a pass up to the front door. It's going to be slightly out to the right-hand side. It was intended to go to Nick McClelland, man at the number 1 position. He's been in that position a few times, waiting for that perfect ball to come to him. And Chris Campson has chosen on a few occasions to send the ball up between the uprights himself. Oh, well, that's another foul there, another right-of-way infringement coming down the line. It was easy to see Nick Manifold had firmly established himself on that line, on that right-of-way. Again, well spotted and a good call there by the umpires. So, another big opportunity here for Bushwood, and definitely not what Ellipse want at this stage of the game. Very often these sort of finals can be decided in the penultimate chukker. I'm sure they'll be coming out now on their bestest and fastest ponies, and I'm sure this is going to be another case for Mr. Campson. As you can see, an undefended goal, a penalty 2, I believe. Campson hits it nice and low. The so-called daisy cutter. So Mr. Campson getting things underway. The first man on the score sheet here in chukker number 5. And that is a total of 8 goals now to his name. The only man so far to have scored for Bushwood. Manifold, of course, been instrumental in allowing Chris to shoot and take these goals. And you can hear, I can hear words of motivation to the rest of his team. It ain't over yet. We still have a bit to go. Ball's thrown into play. Comes out the far side, and guess who finds it first? Again, Campson, but he's stopped in his tracks. As coming out on that throw-in, it would appear that he might have just crossed somebody's right of way. Maybe he should have taken that on the near side. Difficult to see when they are all together in the throw-in. 8 ponies. So let's see what the umpires make of that. Looks to me like we're going to have a hit from the centre. So-called penalty 5B. So indeed, Campson there, the culprit on that play. I'm pretty sure very unintentional. So at least possession and a chance here for a counter-offensive here, and it's going to be started off by Robbie Bilbao. Bilbao sends it up to the front door looking for his number 2, Baldo Palomeke, but again, Campson, he seems to be all over the field up in front to score those goals, but when need be also the experience and the muscle of Chris Campson to go back to take the player out of the play and going back in defence and trying to set up a way out of that melee of players. Another whistle, stopping play. Well, we might see a little bit more of this now, because obviously everything matters now. And we're going to see another penalty 5, this time going the other way. So Bushwood winning that foul and winning possession of the ball. And yep, you guessed it, Mr. Campson there, Chris Campson teeing it up. Play is called. Now then, let's see what Campson has got up his sleeve. There seemed to be a little bit of a nod and a wink there to Nick Manifold, who's just holding back a little bit. Let's see where Nick goes when Chris starts to approach that ball and take the shot. Manifold, they're going up through the centre. There's the drive. And as I thought, to Manifold, perfectly placed. Manifold will try and extend it with a low ball. It has a little bit of a bounce and it just goes wide. So again, that two-play combination strategy here. That was clearly the play they had in mind. And it was nearly executed to its fullest. Again, the precision of that pass from Campson, very good. And Manifold just slightly robbed there by putting the ball out to the left-hand side. Campson now back in defence as Ellipse come forward. And there's the ball up to the front to the only lady player on the field, Pancha Torero. Torero will have to give way. In comes like a man possessed, a man with the number 3, Robbie Bilbao. Still in the danger zone. Who's going to get to it first? Pancha is there as well. Near side backhand. But that was Michael Armour. Pancha just gave way. Campson again working very, very hard. Well, again, another appeal there as he came down the line. Easy to see the man with the number 4, Michael Armour, firmly established on that line. I think it was good to see from that angle. We're down to 2:25, a courtesy change. 8 goals to 6. So Ellipse, again, making a little bit of an unfortunate mistake there. Giving the ball back, even though they might be in their own half, to Bushwood. Very quick flying pony change there by most of the players. 1 or 2 have decided to stay on the field. And just where the umpire, Gaston Dorignac, has positioned himself, that is where play will continue. That's where they've dropped the ball. So a penalty 5A. That is a hit from the spot. Penalty 5B, we've covered that before. A hit from the centre. Here we go then. Play is called. And he's going to take a nice little run. Nice little run up here to this ball. Robbie Bilbao. Hits it low, and those balls are very often very dangerous. A lot of ponies in front of that goal mouth. And again, as he came down, charging down the field, Nick Manifold, the whistle will stop play. 2:17, a lot more whistles now and a lot more fouls than we saw in the previous 4 chukkers. Very difficult to gauge from here exactly who created and caused that foul. Well, I'm just being told here it's a penalty. It's a hit from the spot of penalty 5A in favour of Bushwood. Ball's just being dropped there. So again, the 2 umpires here very much on top of the play. They're deep in their own half. They've still got to take the ball all the way up the field, but at least they have possession. And it looks like Ellipse here are doing everything that they can to stop them in their tracks. You see, again, standing relatively deep. Campson, he's got a man. Shoulder to shoulder, and again, the pass. Now you can see very good from where I'm sitting the angle on that line. Manifold knows he can't hook the player too high. He now has done all he needed to do to allow Baldo Palomeque to send it back over the halfway line, looking to feed it back to Bilbao. Bilbao under the neck to try and send it and centre it towards goal. But Campson is back there, as is Nick McClelland. Campson, nice open backhand, looking for his number 4, Michael Armour. Ellipse, keeping the pressure on. Bilbao. Now he is in shooting distance. He might just attempt it. He did, but he got a deflection there coming off the pony, I think, of Manifold. And another whistle. And a very, I think, clear right-of-way violation on that play. Well, as I said earlier, you will see a lot more of this, especially in the last 2 chukkers, especially on a final. We're down to 1 minute and 19, 8 goals to 6. And so far the only man to have scored in this chukker, and that was right at the beginning, was Chris Campson. But a big opportunity here with a penalty to an open goal. That means, of course, undefended in favour of Ellipse. And they really need to make this one count to come within a goal of the 8 goals scored by, well, not just Bushwood, but also by Mr. Chris Campson. So nice, calm, cool walk. Here we go then. Robbie Bilbao. Well, he makes no mistake there. Sends that one through the upright. So Robbie Bilbao getting his 4th and bringing his team back within 1 goal of Bushwood, who still lead by 8 goals to 7 with a little over a minute left to play in chukker number 5. Well, if I look at the score sheet here, Bushwood, of course, with Chris Campson, have scored in every single chukker. The one chukker where Ellipse did not score was chukker number 3, but they've made up for it in chukker number 4, where Robbie Bilbao scored 3, and he's now scored a very important goal in this, the 5th chukker. Of course, they change ends. Oh, he's missed that one. And this could be an open goal and a walk in the park. No mistake indeed for Nick Manifold. And that will be all they played for in chukker number 5. So 9 goals to 7. That 2-goal advantage restored in favour of Bushwood. Stay with us here on Chukker TV for what promises to be a very exciting 6th and final chukker of the Top Pony 8-goal final 2021. Welcome back, everybody. Great to have you with us here on Chukker TV. Hope you've enjoyed this Top Pony 8-goal final thus far. We are in the sixth and final chukker, and the boys and the young lady in grey have it all to do, but they still are finding it very hard to crack that nut known as Mr. Chris Campson, who is on a flyer this morning, having scored a total of 8 goals so far. Nick Manifold just scoring 1 in the previous chukker, and they won the throw-in again just now, and Chris, as you saw, was up and away. But a whistle has stopped that play. There was a reaching call against Bushwood. So a hit from the spot, a penalty 5A in favour of Ellipse, and they need to start making these combinations work now. And again, a nice little open backhand, a powerful backhand from Campson. Little backhand, nicely done. Campson, who will just try and pick that one, and he got lucky with that one indeed. Still Campson tries to extend it. He's got a man at the front door. That's, of course, is Nick McClelland, who was just a bit too far away for that ball to reach him. And as you can see, the workhorse Campson all over now, back in defence, waiting for his team to also go back and join him as Ellipse have possession, taking the pace out of the game just a little bit. Robbie Bilbao. Bilbao sends it up, looking for his number 2. But again, Bushwood are all over the shop here, and it's another break here for the team in white. Look at him leave them behind. This is a great run here from Bushwood. Oh, he's lost it. Where's the next play? In comes Nick McClelland tries to pick up that ball. It's at a bit of an angle. And all of a sudden, this game is taking up a nice tempo and a nice pace here. Into the open space they go. In comes again Campson. He knows he's got to be careful here. Who's got the faster pony? Campson will shut this down. A little deflection. Comes off the sideboards. Extended by Manifold. And now a nice little turnaround. And this could be a chance here for Nick. Good first touch from Nick McClelland. McClelland on the approach now to goal. McClelland, oh, we got a little bit unlucky there. Sent that one out to the right-hand side. But what a great combination right in front of us here to see. And it all started, of course, with Campson coming back in defence and setting up that play. And looking at the clock, 4:30. One or two of the players been allowed to go for a quick pony change. I heard somebody say somewhere there was a horse bandage that needed replacing. So 4:30 on the clock, and as I say, all of a sudden this game is really picking up quite a bit of momentum here. I've got Cale Newman to my left here, who I think you're quite happy, Cale, so far. I mean, it's very hard to tell. It really could go either way. But there is still plenty of time, 4.5 minutes in this final chukker. We will, of course, have a prize presentation afterwards. Of course. So quick change there by Chris Campson. He's back in the saddle again. And he clearly is a man with a mission. So now also the other two players that went off the field, Buncher Terrero and Nick Manifold, coming back on fresh mounts. And play will resume momentarily. Well, despite the fact that we've had a few more whistles in the last chukker, in chukker number 5 than before, it still is overall, I think, a very fair and a very balanced game. Both of these teams worthy of being in the final. Of course, there will be a winner and there will be a runner-up. And play is about to be called here by the umpire, and Ellipse will get things underway. Clock ticking down. A little under 4.5 minutes, as I said. And they need to really make it count now. There's the power, and again a deflection. Nicely done, Campson. Just caught a little bit off-footed there. And a chance here now for Ellipse, who all of a sudden can take control here. 2 against 1. Number 3, Robbie Bilbao. Bilbao on the approach. Campson, can he put his stick down? Bilbao, can he take it all the way? Bilbao, yes he does. And that is a great run by Ellipse. I did say they need to make it count, and they're doing just that. 1 goal in it now, 8 goals to 9. Bilbao getting his 5th of this final. And this really is anyone's game. 3:45 on the clock. And a whistle, which suggests a courtesy horse change now, which can be taken, of course, or uptaken by all the players. Well, really exciting. You couldn't make this up. Despite that goalless chukker there from Ellipse in the 3rd chukker, they've come back strong, very strong, especially chukker 4 and 5. Chukker 4 was 3 apiece. Chukker 5, Bushwood came out on top, winning that chukker 2 goals to 1. But so far, Ellipse have 1 goal in chukker number 6, and they need 1 more. And they need that very quickly to get the equaliser. So pressure very much here on both teams in the remaining 3.5 minutes of the Top Pony 8-goal final 2021. Flying pony change. And I think 1, 2, 3, 4 greys, 1, 2, 3, 4 whites were back on the field, ready to continue with the last 3.5 minutes of chukker number 6. Ball thrown into play. Now Ellipse will be well advised to try and win this one. They have, and there's the lofted shot, and that's got Puncher Torrero's name on it. She's going to leave it. The under the neck shot, powerful drive. Where's the number 4? Louis Develay, I think, was the man who he had in his sights there to try and pick up that ball, but Bushwood once again with Campson on the boards. He's aware of the fact that time, of course, very much of the essence here. Still Campson. But he's not somebody who wants to run the clock down. He wants to get another score on the score sheet. I think that ball might have just trickled over the sideboard, so there'll be a hit from the spot, a penalty, 5A. Indeed. Quickly taken. Campson finds a little gap. He's got a man on, trying to shut him down. Polo Meke, the 4-goaler, who we saw a lot more of in the first two chukkers. He scored once in the first, twice in the second. A little under the neck attempt there. They've got to be careful here. That's right in front of the goal mouth. Nick McClelland there had a chance, but he was in the wrong position to try and make a clean shot on that. So Ellipse now cutting across the field into the open space. This is good polo over the halfway line. Taking out the man. There's an inside backhand looking for Campson. Campson can't reach it. Again, Robbie Bilbao. Campson there. Will he come through? No, a little pirouette there on the halfway line. Campson will come back and try and challenge him where he can. Waiting. Oh, that's good play. Leaves it behind. Polo now through the centre and up towards goal. Polo Menke for the equaliser. Can he put it through? Yes, he can. It's 9 apiece. Great little play there from Polo Menke. And all of a sudden, we have 9 apiece. Well, they've left the best till last, and they've clearly made up for that goalless chukker in chukker number 3. It is 9 apiece. Who is going to go into double figures first? That could be the decider. Both teams marking up exceptionally well now. They can't afford any mistakes if they want to get their hand on that beautiful trophy. Remember, we will have a prize presentation a little bit later, right after this game. We will also be awarding the Grand Champion's Best Playing Pony, as well as the MVP, the most valuable player of this game. And I think Chris Campson, he still has a little bit of unfinished business there out on the field. He wants to get that double figures on the scoreboard. Oh, they've lost it, a big chance. And it's going to be manifold. The pressure is on. Campson. Still Campson. Campson. Now the whistle comes. Well, it'll be interesting to see what the umpires make of that. Initially, there was no foul, but it could have been a blocking or an obstructing foul. Yep, shading the right of way is the terminology I'm being told is being used here. Now, this is, of course, not what Ellipse wanted. But when you're up against the wall, I'm sure you will do anything you can to try and avoid conceding another goal. Penalty 3 is what it looks like to me. So an undefended goal. The pressure will be on here for Chris Campson. He scored 8 so far. The only other goal scored was by Nick Manifold, but that was a combination play with Chris Campson. Let's see if Chris will take this on. I think he will. You can see Ellipse all behind their own back line. And play is called. Campson. Nice and low, and he makes no mistake. Chris Campson gets his 9th goal of the match, puts his team back in front by 1. Double figures they stand, 10 goals to 9. The last few seconds, the first horn has gone, but they need to get back to the halfway line for the throw-in. Well, you can see Ellipse ready. They want to play on. A whistle will stop the clock one final time. There needs to be a clear passage for the throw-in to be conducted. The ball's in play. We're down to the last 10 seconds. Campson will try and send it as far down the field as he can. An open backhand. Who's there to pick it up? Possibly Polo Menke, but has he got the time? Just 2 seconds left. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a close game. What a thrilling final. I very much hope you've enjoyed this. It really could have gone either way. Congratulations, of course, to Bushwood. Chris Campson there with 9 goals to his name. A great final. It was a tough bit of work here for Ellipse. They came back strong, especially in chukker 4, 5 and 6. And it really could have gone either way. So congratulations to Nick McClelland, Chris Campson, Nick Manifold and more commiserations, but a great fight, a great final here by Ellipse. Pancha Torero, Polo Menke, Robbie Bilbao also with 5 goals to his name, and Louis Devillet will give the players a chance to quickly get off their ponies and then join us here, as I hope you will too, on Chucker TV for the prize presentation. Stay tuned, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking around for the prize presentation. The players have managed to get off their ponies, and a lot of celebration, jubilations going on. Thank you very much indeed. Now, we are very happy to also have the young mother of a player, Louise Armour, who is going to be conducting the prize presentation. If I could have all the players, please, over to the podium for the prize presentation. Of course, all wearing a mask, if you would. And if we could have the lovely Louise Armour on standby. We're going to start with the pony. We're going to start with the Grand Champions Best Playing Pony. If we can have the pony come, please. Thank you very much. She's on her way. I can see her there coming. A nice chestnut mare, I believe. She's about 11 years old. She was ridden by Chris Campson. Her name, Sonoko. Here she comes. And for those of you who are here, a little round of applause, please, on behalf of all the ponies. The Grand Champions Best Playing Pony. Here she comes, as I said, ridden by Mr. Chris Campson, Sonoko. And Chris himself will lend a helping hand by putting on the blanket. Look how her ears are pricking up. She's clearly excited, loving all the attention. Thank you very much. If we can just turn her around a little bit, Chris, that would be very helpful for the camera and for the pictures. Thank you very much. So once again, let's have a little round of applause here for the Grand Champions Best Playing Pony, Sonoko. Thank you very much. Now then, if I could ask the lovely Louise Armour to take centre stage up on the podium or down below, wherever you feel comfortable. Thank you very much indeed. We're going to, of course, start with, yes, if we can have the team up there as well. We're going to start with the runners-up. Let's just get Ellipse up there onto the podium. Thank you. That's a gentleman indeed. And leading the way there, Pancha, Torero, Baldo, Robbie and Louis. So, Louise, I hope you're ready. You're all wearing a mask. Very good. Thank you very much. So, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the runners-up of the Top Pony 8-Goal Final 2021, Team Ellipse, please step forward. Pancha Torero. Thank you very much. At number 2 then, please. He scored 4 goals. Give it up for Baldo Palamecki. Well done, Baldo. At number 3, a cracking game. Great to watch him play the 5-goaler. Robbie Bilbao, please. And at number 4, a round of applause, please, for Louis Devillet. Well done, Louis. Thank you very much. Now then, over to the winners and the champions of the Top Pony 8-Goal Final 2021, Team Bushwood. And at number 1, please step forward, Nick McClelland. Well done, Nick. At number 2, it was great to watch him in action again. Give it up for Mr. Nick Manifold. The powerhouse, the machine, that is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chris Campson. And I'm sure she is going to enjoy, Louise is going to enjoy giving this award to none other than Mr. Michael Armour. Now, we've done the pony. We still, of course, still have one very special award, and that goes to the MVP, the most valuable player of this final. I'm sure you'll agree with me, hands down. There can only be one, and that, of course, is Mr. Chris Campson. Well, thank you all very much indeed for sticking around. I hope you've enjoyed watching the coverage brought to you, of course, as always, on Chucker TV. If we can now have just the winning team up there for the team photograph. Thank you very much. And with those beautiful images there shown with the winning team, thank you all very much for coming out here on this slightly blustery Sunday morning. It's been an absolutely fantastic final. the winners of the Top Pony 8 Goal 2021, once again, Team Bushwood. I'm going to sign off. Thank you all for watching us here on Chucker TV. And remember, we have more action coming to you from Grand Champions this afternoon. 4 o'clock, the World Polo League, the third round of the Founders Cup. Make sure you join us this afternoon. For me and from the winning team, have a lovely weekend. Thank you very much.